Welcome to your new home, familia.
Hi, Coach! We've got ourselves a new bowler!
¡Gol, Laura, gol!
Delicious!
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, muy
bien.
bien.
Muy bien.
How was this project presented to you? Because I'm curious, because this is not an usual animal to tell stories about it. Usually it's a secondary character, it's somewhere on the side, it's like the funny side of any animal story. So I'm curious, what they told you, what they chose Sloth, and how was this project introduced to you?
Well, I auditioned for it. It was an email in my inbox long, long ago, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds interesting. It's a movie about sloths." And I thought of that sloth in Zootopia, and I was like, "Wow, there really isn't sloth representation out there." And a sloth is also my sister's favorite animal, so I knew
Oh.
that she would love it. Yeah, but yeah, it was a really interesting character choice to make them all like the whole family sloths, but I think it's very obviously it speaks to Laura's need to always be fast and sloth just being so slow.
One of the beautiful things about the story, about the message, is like I was a teenager and I was rebellious, but you never think about the consequences of the things that you do, because you think you're doing the right thing. And I just felt identified because of the situation. I don't wanna say anything, because I want people experiment this. And do you think this is a story about a teenager being rebellious, or you think this is a story about a family who try to do better?
I don't necessarily think that Laura is rebelling against her family. I think that she has a really clear idea of what she wants, and what she wants is to be in the city and to be with her friends and to kind of see the world. She has a big sense of adventure. She's very driven. So I think that those kind of wants and ideals just clash against her family's wants and ideals, which is to have a safety net and responsibility and to be around each other. But I think, yeah, both of those things are true. But I also think that she's a tween. She's wanting to. She talks back. She has an idea about the world that maybe doesn't completely align with her mama, and yeah.
And I think also we have the aspect of food, because I feel food is
Yeah.
like it's kind of connecting people. Every time that you eat with someone is to do something, and the connection and those moments of family. It's with a meal. I think that one of those special moments, and creating meal for others, and this thing has success. I think it's something beautiful, because you're introducing your culture to another culture, and the whole
Yeah.
production is from Australia, and it's so many things. It's so cool. How that makes you feel, because you're an artist, you're creating, and now you're learning from other cultures, your culture, but in Australia, like so far from this,
Yeah.
and all this mixture of things, it just made me wonder and think. I'm happy, because this is the beauty of cinema. Like, it can travel anywhere, and people will understand those stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it means so much to me to have a Latin story in an Australian context. That is something that I saw nothing of growing up Latin in Australia. And I think it's really special to be able to have like a movie like this that is so inherently Latin in its family dynamic, in the way that they cook and the food that they're eating, and have that represented to families and kids across Australia and across the world. Yeah, I'm really excited to see where this movie goes, and I'm really excited for Latin audiences to see it as well. But yeah, it truly meant so much to me, because yeah, there's not many Latin Australian people. At least not
Exactly.
many Latin Australian people that I know.
That was my next question. Like, how is growing up being Latino and in Australia? I can't think, because I don't even want to travel that far, but I'm curious about the country, honestly. But I can picture like how's the Latino community in Australia? Because it's so different, and even different animals. And the only thing that we see social media about Australia is those huge spiders and kangaroos and everything.
We do have the huge spiders. Yes, we do. Yeah, I mean, growing up Latin in Australia is there was one other girl from my high school who I knew was Latin. She was Chilean
Wow.
Australian. And then there was no one else. And we had obviously family friends. We had Mexican friends. We had a Colombian family as well that we used to see a lot with children. But that was, yeah, those two families were really the entire community that we knew of in Australia. And especially being Panamanian myself, like I never met any other Panamanians growing up. And my mum has been here for over 20 years, and she's kind of only just found a community of Panamanian people in the past like 3 or 4 years, which just kind of speaks to how little the community is here. But it is growing. There are more and more Latin people immigrating here, which I think is really special. Yeah, and in the last, 2 or 3 years, I've met more Latin people than I have in my entire life.
That's cool.
In Australia, obviously. I've been to Panama, but yeah.
You say something interesting about expectations. How do you expect? What is that idea? The Latin people, because we have Hollywood telling our stories. We have with Encanto, with so many stories that it's not a cultural appropriation, but it's cultural inspiration. What is that idea? What is that expectation that you have that we as in Latin America we're gonna receive this story from a country that is not unusual to tell stories about us?
I hope that Latin people see us as Latin as well, because we are. And I think that our story to tell as being Latin in Australia is its own like kind of insular thing and its own experience, and it has value and it has worth. And I would hope that Latin audiences see and feel that. And Latin American people, other mixed people also see and feel that. Yeah, and I mean, it is created by people, voiced and created by people who are Latin, and there's been a lot of cultural consultancy on the film. There are native Spanish speakers, there are English-speaking Spanish speakers, and yeah, there's a whole variety of people working on the film. So I hope that it is received with love and warmth, and everything that was put into it is also felt. Yeah.
I love the accents also, the Latinos in Australia. It's very cool. And for me, it's so interesting because in my past 2-3 interviews, I've been debating about what is being Latino. Like, how do you consider yourself be part of the community? And it's like every person has a different definition of what's being Latino. And now with an Australian movie about sloth telling stories about Latinos, I think it's going to add something great to the conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you so much, Teo, for your time.
Thank you. Lovely to meet you. Thank you.
Have a great day.